Welcome to one of the most fun episodes of the Spiritual AF Life podcast. And if you are watching from YouTube, why, hello. And if you are on a podcast app, I just have to tell you that this is also on video so that you can actually see what I am talking about in this episode. So feel free to hop on over there because the link will be in the show comments. Today, I wanted to go through my amazing collection of Oracle card decks and then give you specific decks that you can use for specific reasons. So perhaps you're wondering what is one of the best decks to start off with if you are beginning to develop your intuition, your psychic abilities, and also your mediumship skills. Or maybe you are just kind of feeling stressed. Maybe you have a tendency to look into things too much and you need to know the deck that is going to give you clear yes and no answers. Or maybe you are the one that's a little bit apprehensive and scared of this stuff still, and you're like, okay, I need a deck that is going to be like right on to where it is not going to scare me, it is not going to freak me out and all that stuff. So don't worry, I have you covered. And if you stay until the end, I am going to give you 5 decks that I do not like. Hate talking bad about any deck, but there are 5. And one of them, I have a feeling that you are going to disagree on me with. I have done this previously, and I believe that I chose the 5 newer ones that I don't like. There might be one on there that I have said before previously, and I'll give you the reasons why I don't like the decks and things like that. But I thought, hey, fair is fair. I'm going to give you all the ones that I love. But just because that you buy something doesn't necessarily mean that you love it. And what I don't like, maybe you do love. So let's get started first with the very first deck that I want to talk about, which is a starter deck. Okay. Which deck is going to be perfect for you? And this is actually my first deck that I got when I started waking up when I was about 30, I believe. So I've had this deck for 10 years. The box finally broke and I love it. It is the Archangel Power Tarot deck. Now, originally, Doreen Virtue did it with Radley Valentine. So, as you know, Doreen Virtue has now denounced everything. So now you can still get this deck in print with just Radley Valentine. And the reason why that I like this card deck is because technically it is a tarot deck. So when you're talking about a tarot deck, you are talking about 78 cards with a major and minor arcana. Okay, so you are talking about the Lover's card, the Death card, the Wheel card, the High Priestess. You probably heard of some of those names. Those are parts of the major arcana of the tarot. Oracle deck, there's no rhyme or reason. There's no structure. It could be 42, it could be 12, it could be, 1 card, it can be 100 cards. So there's no rhyme or reason with Oracle cards. So that is the main difference. Now, with this deck, which is the Archangel Power Tarot, you can actually use it as an Oracle card deck or you can use it as a tarot deck because the purple cards are the major arcana cards, but they don't follow the same nomenclature, if you will, the same names. So, like for instance, like this is a star, that is correct, but then you have like new beginnings, that is not the same nomenclature, the same names that are used in the tarot. So this could be considered a hybrid deck. But what's really good about it is that you can actually learn tarot if you want. So if you are someone who is like, I don't know about tarot or I don't know about oracle, and you're going back and forth, then this could be a really good deck because it can be used as a tarot oracle deck. But I love this as a new beginning deck because a new beginner deck is because it has amazing detail inside the pictures if you want to read it intuitively. That's one of the number one things I love about it. Number two is that it actually has a description on each card. So this means that you can learn more about what that card means just by looking at it and not having to look inside of the guidebook. And the number 3 reason that I really love this card deck for beginners is because it has numbers. So the numbers can really help you see maybe what month, the time frame, or some other kind of association with the number that means something to that person that you're reading or to yourself. So this is a really, really perfect card deck for beginners who are wanting to learn about intuition or psychic connection. This is really, really going to be a good first starter deck. Okay. Now, if you are a beginner and you are practicing your mediumship, or maybe this is something that you know how to do a little bit, but you're still trying to get your juices flowing. Maybe the information doesn't come through very clearly about the past loved one, or maybe it doesn't come fast enough. And if that's the case, or maybe you're just clueless and have no idea at all, the Talking to Heaven cards by James Van Prague. Again, this was also co-written with Doreen Virtue, but now you can still get this deck where it just says James Van Prague on it. And what I love about this deck is because it's short and to the point. And if you get to know this deck very well, then you're able to get a little bit more insight, as opposed to some other card decks, which might not give you as much detail. If you get to know this card deck, it will give you a lot more information. Okay. So this instance, this card that I am holding right now, it says, I have no earthly worries, but it has sunflowers. And a couple of times when I've been in readings, I'm like, wait, I feel like sunflower connection. And one time a woman was like, yes, I actually put a sunflower like charm or something like that inside of their casket when they were buried. So that was really interesting. There's a couple of them in here that have like, I wish I would have told you how much I love you. And this card a lot of times comes up when there is a, a husband in spirit or a spouse that's in spirit. And so a couple of them was like, now I have no pain. So then I know, okay, this person was really sick or really going through some health issues before they passed. And I am going to link my free psychic and mediumship beginner guide down below, because I have a really good video lesson inside of that guide that will really help you expand on what I just talked about with getting to know your deck and what certain cards can mean inside of a deck. So definitely check that out. Okay. So now those are the two beginner ones. But now I love this deck. Okay. Because it is short and to the point. So if you are needing a clear yes or no answer, this deck is for you. Some of the peeps who know me so well and know my cards so well too, because they join me for coffee and cards every Sunday, probably know the deck that I am talking about. And that is the Crystal Ball Pocket Oracle by Athene Noctua. Mm. This is actually a new release. I think that it came out just a few months ago, or at least it feels like it's only been a few months. And there's only 13 cards in this deck. Okay. And it comes with a little would you call this, a little guidebook, and it tells you what cards are in here. There's a yes card in there, a no, go, the time is right, not the right time, you're going in the right direction, choose a new direction, no need to worry, unlikely, listen to your intuition, get more information, reconsider, and this is the sign. So it's very, very clear. Now, the one, I guess, a disclaimer that I would have with using a card deck that's like this yes and no is you cannot let your emotions get in the way. Definitely journal or do something to get outside of your mind before you pull a card, or have someone else pull the card for you. I actually have a friend that has her kids pull the card. And I think that's perfect because the kid has no bias whatsoever. You might be subconsciously pulling the card that you want instead of the card that is actually what's the truth. Okay. Because I have seen that happen. So have your kids pull them, have your spouse pull them, that kind of thing. And it's going to work out so much better. The Pocket Oracle. And guess what? You keep it in your pocket and then you can carry it around with you. It's absolutely perfect divination tool. All right. So now, are you someone, because we were talking about kids right now, so I think I'm going to move on to this one. Are you someone that is, a parent or an aunt or cousin, or maybe you have somebody in your life that's really young and they are like, I kind of like this stuff, but it's a little bit scary. I don't know what to do. I'm not sure what card deck to either get them. And I have the perfect card deck. Okay. I really, really like it. And I'm not sure if it was designed for teenagers, but I think it'd absolutely be perfect for them. And that is the Sign of the Times Oracle by Crystal Banner. And I love this one because it's short and to the point, and it's also kind of trendy and kind of like cool, okay? Because it shows you the signs too that you can get from your spirit guides and your past loved ones. Like this one here, it says angel numbers, confirmation. It shows a receipt because this is trying to show them how their higher power or the spirit guides or their angels are communicating with them. And then they have things like dice, and it's the dice in the review mirror. They have a disco ball, which is talking about mirror and reflection. And so it literally just has one word and then a description to help you basically interpret that word. And so I love this one. Smiley face is joy, which is on nails, and it has the numbers on them as well. So that could correspond with something that, you know, means something to them. Like usually when I see numbers, it's going to be, the month, the day of that month, or it's going to be maybe another special number to them. Like maybe it's going to be the number that they always see around, those kinds of things. And so this is a really just cute, trendy, uh, card deck. So this is really good to give kind of as a gift or to someone else, that's really cool, really trendy. Okay, so hope you like that one. Now, there are, I think there's two of them around here. There's two card decks that I really don't want to tell you about, but I have to. Okay. And the reason why I don't want to tell you about them is because they relate to Doreen Virtue. So, in case you don't know, Doreen Virtue was an amazing spiritual leader and she denounced everything. And when she did that, she actually denounced all of her cards, and her publisher, Hay House, stopped printing all of her decks to honor her and honor her wishes and stuff like that because she went back to the Christian side. But I had to tell you, I love Doreen Virtue's decks. I think that they are the most. I don't know, they're the most down to earth, accurate decks ever. So I am going to give you two of the suggestions that I have for the Doreen Virtue decks, even though I have probably like a dozen, if not all of her card decks. But these card decks, if you want to get them, they are going to probably be very expensive if you want the originals. They do have knockoffs as well. And with the knockoffs, they are usually smaller. Sometimes they misprint, and sometimes like they don't come with the guidebook either. Normally, I would not encourage any kind of, buying of, knockoffs and things like that because it really hurts a lot of the original creators. But in this case, because they're out of print and because you can't get them anywhere else, I will be linking where to get them below. Okay. So just feel into it if that's something that resonates with you. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. But I just really had to tell you about these because they are really good and I still really love them and I use them still very frequently. All right. So one of them is the Life Purpose Oracle card deck. And this is just so perfect for so many of us who are like, I need some guidance. What am I supposed to be doing in this part of my life? Like, what am I supposed to be doing with my life, period? What is my life purpose? Or even if you wanted to give a reading to one of your friends or your kids and then be like, yes, this is our life purpose, honey. And I love this card deck because this is one of the first card decks that I actually got a reading with. I know it's so nuts, but once I woke up, I went to a psychic fair and I followed this girl online. I don't even remember what her name is now, but it was so funny because she gave me a reading and she used this card deck and it was bang on. So it has like some really cool art. It's very simple art with a name and then also just a little quote. So instance here it says support and it says your life purpose fully supports you. But then I see this staff, which is like that medical staff. So I would think that this has to do with someone who is really good in the medical field. So they could be nurses, physical therapists, even Reiki. And it's so funny that the next card that is showing up right now is body work. And it's so funny because I'm going to read this to you. Your life purpose involves body work. It says massage therapy, energy healing, physical therapy, or exercise training. So that's really like the Reiki card as well, or pranic healing, or some of these other things. But it's very, very short and to the point. It will tell you like really accurate what your life purpose is, and I love it. And I love the children card because sometimes our life purpose is just to be part of that family and to create that family dynamic, for our children, for our spouses, those kinds of things. That I don't think that's me. I don't think that's my life purpose. You will be drawn to it. That's how you know what your life purpose is, because it will resonate with you and it will really draw yourself in. So maybe that's you. If you're a person that has like what is it called, like extra Tupperware, and you have lots of extra pillows and blankets, and people can stay over, and you're very domestic, that to me is someone who has a life purpose surrounding like family and that kind of thing in the community and bringing them together. That is not me, not so much. All right, the second Dorian Virtue card deck is going to be the Romance Angels. Hear me out, hear me out. I love this card deck. I have never recommended a card deck more. I wish that I could create one that's just like this. If you're listening and you're interested, create this card deck. Just replicate it so I don't have to feel guilty anymore, going ahead and referring them to the knockoffs. Okay. If you are in a relationship or if you're single, if you are dating, Oh my goodness gracious. I don't really care what your relationship status is. You need to have this card deck. It is so accurate for anyone's relationship status. Like this is like reconciliation. Oh, I love this. It talks about either coming back together with you and your man, you and your wife. Oh my gosh, or going ahead and old flames coming back. Oh, this one is keep an open mind because things are happening. And then what I love a lot about this card deck is that it has separation, which can really talk like, hey, am I really going to go out with this guy, like what's happening? And you might actually feel like you guys are separating, but then again, this actually came up for me and my husband. It literally said separation. I'm like, oh my god, me and my husband, like, are you serious? Like, I love him. I didn't think that we were having any problems or anything. And then I went downstairs and he was like, oh hey, I have a work trip coming up and I gotta leave. And I'm like, oh, that's how we're separating. And I love the you deserve love card. There's a new love coming in. So it's a really, really great and accurate card deck. And it's so easy to read because it literally has the words right here, like make the effort. And then it'll have a little something at the bottom, like great love is worth the steps you're guided to take. So this is talking about bam, you need to like get with it and your relationship. You maybe need to try a little harder, rekindle that spark a little bit, girlfriend. Okay, so I love, love, love this card deck. The Archangel Power Tarot, the Mediumship by James Van Prague, the Talking to Heaven, and this one, the Romance Angels deck, are the ones that I always have with me during my readings. Those are the main ones. Okay. Now, let's say you're learning. Let's say you're learning about some stuff, okay? Maybe you are opening up more to your spiritual side and you're not really sure where to even start. I am going to give you some really cool deck ideas to help you almost like with your studies, if you will. All right. And the first one is this is the first deck that I got out of the ones I'm about to show you that are kind of in this category is the numerology deck. And I love this one because it is by Michelle Buchanan, who is an amazing numerologist. I learned so much about my numerology from her, but it has the numbers and then what they mean. So usually I only teach 1 through 10 because then you can go ahead and break down the numbers, like 11 and 12, like 11 goes down to 2, 12, goes down to 3. So we can keep on doing that. But if you want to learn what specific numbers mean, this might be a great deck for you. For instance, this is 81 and it says leadership. So it's very much to the point. They're almost like study cards. This is number 4, which is perseverance, and it's green. This one's pink. This would be a great deck to do as well if you are doing Reiki and you want to do a card for each one of the chakras. So this is number 88, which is abundance, which that totally makes sense though, because if you know the number 8, that means abundance. And so what do you think that 88 is going to mean? It's going to be abundance, abundance, lots and lots and lots of it. And this can also be a really good deck too if you're trying to figure out times. So if you are like, hey, spirit, like when the heck is this going to happen? Are we going to move? Is this going to go through? Like when? Go ahead and pull one of these cards. And then maybe that number is going to show you either the date or it can show you the month. Sometimes it shows you how far away it is. So, like the 9 may not be September, 9 might be 9 days or 9 weeks from now. So, keep that in the back of your mind. Try to set the intention before you actually pull the cards, and that will help out spirit to give you the most accurate information because it's very, very important to us to set the intention before we pull any card, okay? Because that's telling spirit, hey, this is what I expect. These are the rules, these are the parameters, if you will. All right, so I think this is the second deck that I bought that had to do with my studies, and that is The Keepers of the Light by Kyle Gray. So maybe you've heard of ascended masters, maybe you've heard of, higher dimensional beings, intergalactic guides, but you're like, who in the world are these people? That is where you get this card deck and it will teach you a lot. And it doesn't mean you have to go through and study every single day, but if every single day that you pull a card, you'll get to know these cards a little bit better. And by getting to know the cards a little better, you're going to be able to get to know these beings, if you will, right? So, like this one is Lady Venus, and it says downloads and understanding. Truth is being revealed. Deep insights are coming from heaven and the astral realm. Perfect. So if you keep on looking at this, it's going to like subconsciously teach you. And then when you're watching documentaries or you're watching like really cool movies and they bring up Lady Venus, then all of a sudden you're going to be like, oh my God, I know her. I keep on pulling her card. Horus, which I know a lot of us have heard about, cosmic gateway. Your thoughts are magnetic and powerful. Miraculous changes are occurring. And so, if you wanted to, you could take this a little bit step further and look at the guidebook, which goes a little bit more into detail about these amazing keepers of the light. So, this is such a good deck for learning about them. Now, if you're one that wants to learn more about goddesses, which I feel a lot of us need to, because a lot of us right now, if you're listening, we have a tendency to get stuck in our masculine energy. So a lot of us might not even be drawn to goddesses because goddess is very feminine energy, but that's what we need. I don't know about you, but I know that I definitely need them. In fact, I probably haven't even used this goddess deck in forever, but it's perfect because not only does it teach you about your intuition and things like that, but it teaches you about each one of these goddesses. So let's see who this is. Metis, and that's wisdom, and it's number 36. And then you can go ahead intuitively read the card and then look it up in the guidebook exactly who that is. Some of these I haven't even heard of. Oh, I have heard of Freya, though. I love Freya. Freya, and it says radical acceptance, and it's number 15. So you can just read them just like that, or you can use them as a study, if you will, study of the goddesses. Green Tara, salvation, number 18. So you'll be really surprised by some of them. Oh, like Mother Mary is here with miracles, number 34. And that's really amazing too, because whenever Mother Mary comes up, she is my sign for families and trying to create harmony within the families, maybe new babies coming or changes in family dynamics. So I'm not sure what's going on with the families. I've never mentioned this so much before in my life. So I know that somebody has to hear it. Okay, the next one for study is going to be the Archangels and Gemstone Guardian cards. And this is by Margaret Ann Limbo. Mm, mm. Love this card deck so much. I don't use it enough because I'm not very drawn to crystals as much as I should be, I guess. But this is what makes these cards so awesome is that number one, they show you the picture of the crystal and then it shows you the name and then it also shows you the description. And it's so funny because I just seen Celeste and I was just thinking about someone I know named Celeste when I talked about like the Mother Mary and that kind of thing. And but this says Celestite and I love it. It says, are you hearing messages from your angels? Have you noticed your life flows easily as if the divine timing is working in your life? Peace is yours. You have a team of angels on your side, illuminating and orchestrating your life. They respond to your thoughts, wishes, and dreams according to the divine plan. And on the other side, there is a message from your archangel. So each one of these stones correlates to an archangel. So this was Archangel Uriel, and it says, I am at peace. Legion of angels are my personal entourage, helping me every day in every way. I am aligned with the divine plan. My ancestors direct me on my path. I am grateful for knowledge they impact to me. So you kind of get to know a little bit more about the angel and how it corresponds with the crystal along with the message. So these can be quite intense as well if you're not really familiar with the different kinds of crystals and different kinds of stones. But I I really love it. And I tell you what, a couple of times that I have used them, bang on. Really good if you are a healer, if you are someone who offers some kind of service to, even if you aren't offering a metaphysical service, but maybe a therapist or a teacher or something along those lines, you can always pull a card from this deck. Okay. So now we're going to get into something that I know all of us need, but then again, not all of us are going to be very open to it, and that is self care. All right, so self care, I actually have two decks for self care. And this is also going to be if you are stressed, if you are suffering from anxiety, okay? These are going to be two card decks that could truly help you because it might be able to pinpoint exactly why that you are feeling this way or also help you figure out what is needed in order to feel better. So let's get right to it. I'm going to go with my classic one, which is Cheryl Richardson. And if you don't know her, she is all about self care. So she has written tons of books on self care, including The Art of Extreme Self Care. And then she also has the self care cards, which I've had for many years. And what I love about them is that they are obviously very simple and easy to use. They just have the name, the picture, and on the back, they just have a little quote. So this one, for example, says creativity. And then on the back, it says express your creativity, delight in the mystery of your inner muse. So maybe it's trying to tell you here that you are spending so much of your time worrying and thinking or just repeating those thoughts. Put your thoughts to better use. Put your thoughts into some creative sides, okay? And your creative side is going to help you connect more to your intuition and also to your spiritual team. I'm going to do one more because I feel like we really need to hear this. This one is rest. Beautiful picture. And on the other side, it says rest and relax, release guilt, and make your needs a top priority. This is so true. I'm not sure if it's true for you, but it's so true to me because literally last night I say to my husband, I'm like, "Hey, I have some white space. What should I do?" Like what would like they always keep on saying like, "Oh, you have too much on your plate and you need to stop doing this and you need to stop doing that." Well, then what do I do then? And then my husband's like, "Okay, first, you have to choose something that just brings you joy, that does not really mean anything. It's not going to get you anything in a way except for joy." So he's like, don't do anything for businesses, for work. You can't do anything that's, part of a task. And I'm like, oh my God, like what in the world is that? What am I going to do that will just bring me joy? He is like, okay, like reading a book just for joy, doing some artwork, drawing, coloring, those kinds of things. And a lot of times I feel that a lot of us just go right to TV. And even though that's good, I think it's more mind numbing than mind inspiring. And I think that many of us, could, maybe go for a walk and listen to some trash books or sit outside and just watch the sun and, feel the wind and that kind of thing. And what I mean by trash books, I just have to go back, is that that's one of my dirty pleasures. So I love to read nonfiction memoirs. And some of them are just so catty, they're gossipy. I'm not learning from them whatsoever. I'm just being part of like this gossip girly culture. And the thing is, I don't really partake in gossip in my everyday life, but I'll just be honest with you. It's like that book by Holly Madison. I left both of her, I read both of her books, and that's all it was. Like, was I really learning anything? I was just learning about her take on things. And it just seemed like there was a lot of like catty talks and stuff. And I was like, all right, that's my thing. My husband's like, I can't believe that you're listening to this. I'm like, yeah, but that was kind of like a guilty pleasure. So maybe you have a guilty pleasure. I want to hear it. I share with yours. Now you share with me. All right. Now the other self-care deck. This one is, oh my God, so freaking accurate. This is the Sacred Self-Care Oracle by Jill Pyle. You probably remember one day for coffee and cards, the tea card came up. And I was like, what? I was like, you don't do that, Spirit. Like, you don't be pushing your tea onto me when I'm hosting coffee and cards. And they actually did it twice. And the second time, one of the guys that were on listening to coffee and cards, he was like, hey, maybe they're talking about the Boston Tea Party because it was 4th of July weekend. I was like, oh my gosh, I love that. Love it. Okay, so these cards a little bit more, how do I call it, cartoony to say the least. Okay. And it has a picture and then it has a number, which I love. The other ones don't have numbers, and it says sweet treat. So then maybe this is going to be what you need. You need to like indulge, girlfriend. You need to indulge. Oh my gosh. If you are on YouTube right now, you are getting a treat. Sorry about that, YouTube. Okay. The ones who listen on the podcast, it was like a naughty card. That's all we're going to say. All right. So they do have some kind of fun cards here. But now we're going back to the normal cards, and that is number 11, and it is connect with crystals. We just talked about crystals. Ooh, I love this one too. It's number 22, which is energy work. So this is one of my new favorites, if you want to call it new. I guess that's new because I always loved the other deck by Cheryl Richardson. But now I love this deck. Okay, so now we're going to get into these other card decks, which I know that you love and you probably heard me talk about before. And that is going to be the Food Healing Oracle decks. Now, why in the world did I choose these? It is because now they actually have two decks out now, which is just the normal deck, and they also have second helpings deck. And I love these cards because they have each one of the foods. Above it, they have the name of the food, and then below it, the picture, they have a word to symbolize that food that they channeled from spirit. And it is so amazing because like I was doing a mediumship reading. Well, all my readings are a blend of psychic and mediumship, but I was reading this woman and her husband was talking to me who had passed. And it was so funny. I was like, radishes. I feel like he's bringing up, like, he brought up radishes. Like, the radishes card came out, which means communication. So I thought he was talking about communicating with her. But as soon as I said radishes, she started bursting out crying. And she was like, he loved radishes. Radishes was his thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's so cool. And there's like so many different stories about that, about how you can use this in your mediumship skills. That's actually why this box is empty right now that I'm holding in my hand, because my actual card deck is over where I do my readings, because I do keep these on hand now, for my readings, because it will also tell you too what kinds of foods that you should be eating to help you feel better. It can also give you insights on some foods that are not good for you. Like one time the tomato card came up and I was like, oh, girlfriend, I think you're allergic to tomatoes. And she's like, oh my eyes. She's like, I was told that before, but I never stopped eating them. I'm like, why did you stop eating them? Stop eating them. You're allergic to them. And then I found out that somebody else is eating like 5 pounds of tomatoes a day. I'm like, okay, that's way too many freaking tomatoes. Okay. Now, the second helpings part too, another reason why that I love this deck is because it has a lot of unique foods. And so, like, this one is ANISE, anise, which means celebrate, moringa, which is gratitude, chia seeds for hope, goji berries for believe. So some of these you don't even know. And so you feel so cool. And then honestly, I have kept these cards in my kitchen for the longest time, because what's really neat is that you go into your kitchen and then you try to find the cards of the most frequent things that are in your kitchen. And then you will look at the words that are on that card deck and you're like, oh my God, like I am so secure with that. And I wonder if it's because I have so much of that food in my house. And so maybe you need to bring other food that you are kind of maybe craving subconsciously into your house. And what I mean by that is we have a lot of freaking onions, okay, in my house. And my onions is all my onions. My husband is all about onions, and onions means accept. And believe me, we are so accepting in our house. And then there's tomatoes, which means action. There's tons of freaking action in my house. But you know what? Do we have, let's say, oh my God, we have so much cinnamon. Cinnamon's for longevity. I mean, if I go downstairs right now, I will pull up at least, not even kidding you, 10 things of cinnamon. What I mean by 10 of those shakers of cinnamon, at least 10 of them. And it symbolizes longevity. So in this case, me and my husband are basically just trying to be vampires at this point with all the freaking cinnamon we have in our house. But do we have any figs? No. No figs. And you know what fig symbolizes? Meditation. So maybe if I had more figs in my house, then maybe I would meditate more. So maybe that's a way to help you meditate, is by getting some darn figs. Okay. And maybe, I don't know why, but someone needs some chia seeds up in this house. I do have chia seeds, but I don't use them. By the way, I don't know if you know this or not, but I feel like I have to say this about chia seeds, is that you have to let them absorb in water before you eat them, because if not, they can absorb all the water in your intestines. And I've almost had to go to like the hospital because of the unbearable pain that I've had. So that's just why I'm really careful around chia seeds. They say that you could go ahead and, just leave them for a few minutes, but I usually do chia seeds overnight because I still want to take the chance. Okay. But, anyways, someone needed to hear that because Spirit pointed me right to chia seeds, which is hope. So someone definitely needs hope, and maybe you need to get some chia seeds. Maybe make yourself some overnight oats with some chia seeds in there. Mwah. Some really good omega 3s in there too for your body. And I think that we are almost done. One more. Okay. There is some debate about this last card deck before I show you the other five that I do not like. All right. I love this card deck so much. It is purely for fun. So, this is going to be for you if you need more fun in your life, if you need to stop being so serious, if you are someone that just needs a freaking laugh, or if you are somebody who has a lot of cool girlfriends, who's maybe getting into this stuff or whatever, this makes the perfect gift. I love it. And I think that a lot of you might know exactly what card deck that I am talking about. And that is the Spiritual AF. And of course, this is the Spiritual AF Life podcast. And of course, I have to have the Spiritual AF card deck. It's, by Knock Knock 99 inspiration cards for people who effing need some information. So this has some woo language, okay? Just a warning, but I love it. So let me get some that are a little bit more rated G. And it says, Namaste. The slay in me recognizes the slay in you. And then on the back, it has the message. And the message says, at some point, you gotta get up and act like the people you admire. You probably know someone is slaying at life right now. Spend time doing the SHIT that they do. Better yet, take them to coffee and ask them how they exactly managed to slay so hard. Then recognize where you are capable of the same kind of slay. Mm, 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 mm. And so I love this card deck. I'm just gonna do one more. Let's just do a quick card before we move on to the yucky cards. Oh wow, I don't think I've ever pulled this card before. There's so much writing on that. Let's see. 3 ways to fail at everything in life. Are you ready? Number 1, complain about everything. Number 2, blame others for your problems. Number 3, never be grateful. Wow, I feel like this card is giving us like a spanking or something like that. Wow, like a talking to. So it says today's to dos. 1, don't complain about SHIT. 2, take full responsibility for every single thing in your life. 3, be grateful for SHIT. Tonight's to dos. Look at yourself in the mirror, see how hot you are, and then be grateful for your bad self. I don't know. I like this one better. This one says grab your own butt and love yourself. That's what I'm talking about. It could be a lot of freaking fun. And, it can make some people blush too. So I love it. All right. So thank you for joining me for that section of the card decks. Now, I'm going to start off with the 2 that I think I might have told you about before. Oops, hopefully on YouTube you didn't see it. Okay. I think I've talked to you about this card deck that I do not like, and that is the Spirit Song Tarot. You probably seen this in like every single freaking medical physical store. It has an elephant on it. It looks like freaking gorgeous, okay? It looks like it has beautiful and it's whimsical and it looks like, oh my gosh, like I feel like a princess if I use those cards. No, I don't know if you will. I don't. I feel very disappointed, okay? Because when you look at the outside art, it's so vibrant, it's so pretty. And then when you open it up, it's like really dull and it doesn't really show a lot of the colors. It's almost just like barely any colors. It's ugh. I just don't even like it. And then here's what the backside looks like, which is just, flower lotus with some veins and that kind of thing. It's very pastel and it's a very, very light pastel. I think that it looks better on the YouTube video than it does in real life. So I don't like it, and I don't like it for that reason. Period. Other than that, it is a tarot card deck. It says 7 of Acorns, which is determination and stamina. And so they didn't use the traditional nomenclature or wording, with the tarot. So the tarot usually has something similar. Like they have swords, wands, they have cups, they have pentacles. Sometimes you might see like I don't know why I'm thinking of baseball bats, but baseball bats for wands, So they might have coins instead of pentacles. What do you think acorn is? So these might not be as easy to interpret because the other suit is crystals. And the picture doesn't really look like a traditional tarot card. So it's not like you can look and see on the picture which one is it supposed to be. Oh, like transformation. Okay. It says transition and liberation. The transformation is probably the death card. But yeah, definitely not. It's not easy to see either. The font on these are not really good. It's not like you just look at it. And then, for example, the tower card. I recently talked about the tower card on my Instagram The tower card has a tower with a million people falling out. Not a million, okay? It's just like 7 or 8 people falling, screaming from a burning tower. It's freaking scary, okay? And then if you look at this card deck with the tower, how is this the tower card? It has a chameleon on a branch. He doesn't even look worried. He looks freaking annoyed. How is this a tower card? It does not like radiate the energy of a freaking tower card. Sorry. All right. So on the chopping block of ones I don't like is the Spirit Song Tarot by Paulina Cassidy. Cassidy, admire your artwork, admire your dedication, but I'm sorry, that one's out. Okay, so here's another one that I think I might have told you about. Not really sure. Actually, I did. I did on Coffee and Cards recently. The tree, the Celtic tree oracle deck. Oh my gosh. This one is just, you are going to have to be a freaking tree lover because it's just, it. I feel like the person who created this artwork is very, very talented. But I just think like this one here, it has a leaf and then it says number 19 and then it says what kind of leaf it is, which is one is an Idaho white polar aspen. Like I feel like you would just have to be a leaf lover. Okay, this one is number 3, fern alder. But there's nothing else going on. You can't read these intuitively. There's just pictures of leaves with a background, and a lot of the backgrounds, like they don't even change. Like this one has a tree. It's not even a cool tree. Like this one just has like a little bit of a branch in the back, and that one is 12, Gort ivy. And so then you're like, Heather, you can learn it. Totally can. Get the guidebook, and then you go in the guidebook. It is pages and pages long for one card. Oh my God. Guess what, you guys? I literally just opened up to the Heather. It's number 18. You are Heather. Yes, I am Heather. Oh my gosh. I have got to make sure that you see this. Look at this. You are Heather Mistletoe. And it's number 75 in the guidebook. But that is so cool. That's actually the reason why I got this card deck because I liked the Heather card. And because on the back it has the Heather card. And it says totems, it has deities and guides, it has the letters, it has the class. Like this has peasant or chieftain, and then it has keywords, and then it has one paragraph, and then it says you are Heather, and then it says mistletoe in a reading. Then it has another freaking paragraph, and then it has reversed another paragraph. Then it has message, which is 1, 2, 3 paragraphs. Oh my God. Now I gotta read this though, because I feel like this is like a message, for me. It says, we the Heather and Mistletoe bring you healing energy. No, I bring you healing energy. I'm the healer here. Yes. So that's why I don't like them. Is because even if you wanted to learn them, this is like a freaking course, okay? And then good luck telling the difference between those cards out in the wilderness. So I can't do it. Okay, so here's another one that I do not like. And I wanted this card deck so badly, and I just can't do it. I tried so hard and I can't. And that is The Fairy Tale by Lucy Cavendish, and the artwork is by Jasmine Beckett Griffin. It is the Enchanted Oracle. I love the freaking artwork on the box. I love the artwork on each individual card. Oh, like this is Snow White. Perfect. Love it to death. Wanted to do so many readings with these. But then I started getting into some of the fairy tales because each one of these cards represents a fairy tale. No problem. I know fairy tales. Cinderella, Princess and the Frog, right? Snow White, all those. I got you. No, I don't got you. I don't got it. I don't got it. I freaking dropped it. Okay. Like, for example, maybe you've heard of some of these. I have not. The juniper tree, and the card is deception. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of the rose shoes, which is deception? Have you heard of the rose elf, which is revelations? Have you heard of the Nixie of Mill Pond, which is memory? Have you heard of the children of Lear? I think I might have. How about the princess who never smiled, which is healing? Or one more, let's do it. The day boy and the night girl, which is about balance. Okay, so you know what? I hear you. I hear you, Heather. You're like, hey, this is probably British. Actually, it's not British. Oh, maybe it is. I kind of forget, but I do remember researching all of these, and they come from all different kinds of countries. So that's really cool. This is what I don't like is in the guidebook, they go into the true story behind all these fairy tales. And when I mean the true story, it makes what's his name, Son Christian Andersen or whatever, it makes his stuff look like preschool stories. You know the true story about a lot of these fairy tales, and they were not good and happy. Disney, perked them up and made them happy stories and stuff like that as much as you can without all the parents dying in every freaking Disney movie. But you get what I'm saying. He made them a little bit nicer. These in the book, the descriptions of these fairy tales, it's bad. It is so bad. I am like, I need to wash my brain after hearing about some of these freaking fairy tales. I am like, no, like I'm probably going to share some of these with you because I am like, oof. And so now instead of having good energy, when I look at this card, all I think about are the horrible stories that's included with it. It's bad. And they even include, I mean, they really include like the true stories of like Snow White and the red rose, the red elf. I don't know, but they're bad, man. They're bad. I was reading them and I was like freaking out. If you want to read horror stories, like don't be going, to get like a horror, true crime or whatever like that. Just read that freaking book, man. Just read that book. It is BAD. All right, I have two more. All right, I'm saving the one that I feel is going to be the most the most scariest for me to share with you that I don't like. But this one here is also one that you might see around a lot, and that is The Food Fortunes by Josh Lafayette. I was so excited to finally get this. I'm like, yes, Heather. I feel like Spirit was stopping me for the longest time. And I was like, come on, Heather, just do it. This is going to be so much fun, especially for coffee and cards. But here's the thing, like they have the ace of drinks. So as soon as you see that ace of drinks, you immediately think this is a tarot deck, okay? And I forgot how many. Yeah, these are 78. So these are 78 cards. It has ace of drinks. You think all suddenly this has to be a tarot deck. It has to be. It doesn't say, it says food fortunes, doesn't say tarot, but it has 78 cards. And then you're seeing minor and major arcana parts, then perfect, it's tarot. No, it's not actually. I have spread these out, trying to think of what in the world these cards are, and they have no rhyme or reason. They are oracle cards. So Knight of Drinks, they have the Hot Mess, which is a Sunday, the Queen of Drinks, which looks like some wine. They have the Banco Dip, the Vietnamese, which is like a sub. They also have something that's like the cast iron, which I don't know, is that a quiche that they're making in there? Oh my goodness. These, like, how do you read these? These are just, I don't know if you get drunk or maybe if you're hungry, you can try and see. I think that's why they created them, to be honest. Like, this is a taco. So I think that they kind of created them for you just to play around with, to laugh, maybe as a gag gift, that kind of thing. And then this is the bagged one. So maybe you're eating too much potato chips or you need to eat some potato chips. And then let's see, the stack, which is pancakes. That's it. And so I feel that the author did a good job and the artist did a good job for what they wanted, but I feel like it's a little bit misleading thinking that these are tarot or oracle card decks. I tried to read them intuitively. It's extremely hard, and I'm very good with intuition because technically you don't need any card decks at all. I don't need card decks. Like once you start getting the groove of it, these are just tools. And a lot of them are just fun or they're just to kind of validate. But these, no, I don't like them. Okay. Okay. Are you ready? I'm a little nervous. All right. I do not like these card decks. I do not like this card deck. And that is, it's Rebecca Campbell. It's the Healing Waters. And there's several reasons why I don't like this deck. So the first reason is I respect her branding, Rebecca Campbell's branding. Her branding is so good across the board, but all of her card decks just look almost the exact same. That's what I hate. She just released this like a couple months ago or within the last year or something. And it's like, it looks just like all the rest of them, except for the last one was like a little bit more of a lighter pink. And then it was a little bit more of a blue. And this one's just a little bit more of like a green, but sometimes you can't really tell the difference. And then it says Healing Waters. And then one time I was doing reading with these during coffee and cards, and I was like, why is there so much water in these cards? And they're like, oh, they're like, because it's healing waters. So I'm like, oh my gosh. And so it's the exact same: follow the stream, dedication, trust future rivers and oceans. All I could hear right now is that song by TLC, Don't Go Chasing Waterfalls. But seriously, like that's it. And it's just like the same old, same old. I feel like if you have her other card deck, you know, honestly, any other card deck, you're going to not need this one. The Sweet Waters: sensuality, romance, enjoyment, fertility, and balance. Love it. It's beautiful, beautiful artwork. But then I just kind of feel like maybe you can take the other two, which is her Star Seed Oracle. And then I think she has another one that I kind of like. But it's like if you have those two, I don't think like you need this one. It's just it's the same. I don't think there's any new messages. There's nothing that really stands out. There's nothing like, oh my gosh, I love this because I love even the style or whatever. It's I feel like she just modified some of the pictures and that's it. And then just talked about water a lot. I don't understand that concept. Maybe she had something going on with water that I don't know about. Okay, so hopefully that you don't hate me for not liking this deck, but I really don't. Okay, so please comment though, or let me know what your favorite card deck is, because I would love to know yours. And then be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out, because I will be seeing you on Sunday at 9 a.m. for coffee and cards. I will see you then.